everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today for our masterclass. Today, I'm going to teach you three things. I'm going to teach you about how stress shows up in your life, physically, mentally, and emotionally. A really simple way to release the stress from your body so that you can activate your body's innate self-healing process. There's so many misconceptions about stress. It's so normalized now that, we're working moms, we're busy, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and we're just supposed to be stressed. And I want to help you guys today really start to take your power back for your health and be able to look at stress in a different way, not as stress is scary and I have to avoid it at all costs, but I can be empowered in helping my body heal and helping my body stay healthy and helping me choose my emotional state, choose the emotional state that's most supportive of me. So today is all about stress, and I'm going to share with you two of my favorite stress management techniques. They are both highly effective and they're simple. So that's what I love. I'm all about simplicity, especially because there's so many tools out there. There's so much information out there, but it does not have to be hard. So does this sound like you? You're struggling with stress, you feel overwhelmed, you have a lot of pain in your body. Maybe you just don't know what to do next. It all seems so overwhelming. Self-care is important. Stress management is important, but you're having a hard time being consistent and committed to your practice. It's almost like stress management or self-care is an afterthought. It's a reaction when your life isn't quite the way you want it to be, when something just doesn't feel quite right. Maybe you know a lot of ways to manage your stress, and you even have a few really solid tools, but you're still struggling. There's something that's still not quite connecting for you or clicking for you to help you get to that next level. Hey guys, my name is Dawn Pensack. I'm a former math teacher. I was in the classroom for over 10 years, and I pivoted to this new career out of necessity, actually. I didn't plan a career change. I never in a million years thought I would leave the classroom as a teacher, but in my 10th year, I got really sick. And after a year of going to see so many different doctors and having so many tests and procedures, but nobody figuring out what was wrong, I decided I was going to have to figure it out for myself. And that's when I really started learning about stress and the dangers of it and how sneaky it can be. But I also realized that I had to find a way to empower myself in managing my emotions and managing my health. We're here for about an hour. So if you guys can put some distraction or, any distractions to the side, that would be awesome. Turn your notifications off, turn your phone off, close out your tabs, whatever you need to do to be fully present and focused, because there's no doubt in my mind the two techniques we're going to talk about in our class today can rapidly change your life. There's no doubt in my mind. You just have to be fully present in order to really be able to use these independently. If you have any questions at all, I will keep an eye on the chat as best I can, but I will open up time at the end to answer any questions if I don't see your chat, if I don't see your message. Okay. My goal for the presentation today is to help you see how simple it can be to manage your stress. I want you to feel empowered and confident at the end of the session today, and to have some understanding of how stress can show up for you. And also realize that even though you have a lot of things on your plate, even though you're busy women and you got a lot of things going on, it is not normal to feel burnout. It is not normal to feel completely overwhelmed. And it's not okay to live in a state of chronic stress. But my goal is to make this much simpler for you so that you have tools you can start using right away to drastically change your health. So today we're talking about these three objectives, sneaky ways stress shows up in our life. So as I mentioned before, stress can show up physically, mentally, and emotionally. And a lot of times we don't listen to our bodies. We don't hear the ways, we don't feel or see the way stress is sneaking up until there's a major physical crisis. And that's exactly what happened to me. I do not want that to happen to you. I want you to learn 2 really simple, highly effective stress management tools. Today, we're going to focus on EFT, and we're also going to focus on how to breathe in an anatomically correct way to really empower and activate your body's natural healing process. And again, we're going to talk about how to activate your body's natural self-healing process, because your body is capable of pretty amazing things. And when we turn on our body's natural self-healing process, we flip that switch. It's really incredible how our body can support our health and how our body can support us in really living a life we love. When you release stress, okay, and I hope you guys experience a release of stress in our session today, you can live a much happier, healthier life. When you release, even if it's just a little bit of stress, when you release that stress, when you allow your body to process it and let it go, many people experience a drastic shift in how their body feels. It's almost immediately they might feel less pain. Almost immediately they might feel like they're just lighter, like things are happier. That weight that they didn't even know was there is now lighter or completely gone. So releasing stress can do some pretty incredible things for your life. Now let's talk a little bit about stress. Now, stress is something that it's always around us. There's always things to be stressed about, and stress is a totally natural part of our life. The problem, and this is what we're really getting into today, the problem is that we are living in a state of chronic stress, which means that our body is kind of in this stress response all the time. We have the sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight, flight, freeze response. We have the parasympathetic nervous system, our rest, digest, and heal. We cannot heal if we're not in that parasympathetic nervous system. But so many of us, and especially this year with the pandemic and all the other things that have happened in 2020, which has been pretty remarkable, right? With all the things going on in our life right now, many of us are in this state of chronic stress, which means that our stress response is constantly turned on, which means that most of our blood flow and energy is going to our outer limbs. Okay. When our stress response is turned on, think about a tiger chasing you, right? This is like the easiest analogy to picture. Years and years and years ago, right, when that was a big threat, right, outrunning a tiger, our stress response would turn on. Everything that wasn't essential in our body would turn off: digestion, reproduction, right? Everything that wasn't like going to help us run faster or fight harder, that's all turned off. Now, all of our blood and energy is basically diverted to our arms and legs, right? You got to run faster, you got to fight harder. But that didn't last for very long. Either you were killed by the tiger, or you outran the tiger, you found a safe place, you hid behind a rock, climbed a tree, whatever. And as soon as you realized you were safe, your parasympathetic nervous system turned on, and you immediately entered this state of bliss and gratitude. Oh my gosh, I'm so thankful that I survived, right? And when you're in that parasympathetic nervous system and that gratitude, right? Gratitude is one of the most powerful and supportive chemicals that just enter our body and support the healing process in so many different ways. So when you are in that stress response, things are shutting down, things aren't working properly, and then you enter that state of that parasympathetic nervous system. Wow, everything is beautiful again. The blood flow now is 10 times the blood flow is going to your trunk organs. Okay, it's coming back from your arms and your legs. So your system is working in harmony again, and everything feels good. Okay, everything feels good when you're in that state. With more stress, more cortisol, more inflammation, more pain. Okay. And the problem is we never really get out of the sympathetic nervous system anymore. So, so stress can be a really big issue for so many of us. However, I want to share with you guys today how simple it is to activate that parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, that rest, digest, and heal. It's not as hard as we think. So I hope that you guys are here with an open mind. All right. If you come with a cup all the way full, it's really hard to retain anything new. It's really hard to apply any of the information that you might learn today. So come with a glass that's either empty or partly full so that you can absorb some new information. Hopefully, you will learn something today that can really help you in your stress management. Okay, so there are typically 5 types of women who are interested in living a life of less stress. And there's one that you absolutely want to avoid. Now, I personally have been in every single one of these stages. And I'll let you know which stage I was in for the longest and how I got out of that. But there are 5 stages that I typically see. So we have the learner or the student or the scholar. And I was in this stage for quite a while in the early days of my my whole awareness of learning about this. But in this stage, somebody's constantly learning and consuming new information. She's not really implementing what she's learning, and she's still struggling, right? She's still struggling, but she's learning, she's researching, she's finding all the different ways, all the different tools and modalities, possibly getting tons of certifications for one day. Okay, so this is what you definitely want to avoid. Learning is great, but implementing is even better. That's where the magic really happens. Then we have the dabbler. The dabbler, this is a really dangerous place to be because the dabbler is very reactive. She may have a tough day at work and schedule a yoga class that night. She may have a tough month at work and schedule a mani-pedi with her girlfriends at the end of the month. She is practicing self-care and managing her stress in response to a really hard day, maybe an illness. You know, she caught a cold. Oh man, you know what? I'm not managing my stress. I'm stressed out. Lots going on. Now's the time for me to get back into it. So she's really reacting to a lot of things in her life, the overwhelm, the frustration, instead of actually making this a practice. Okay. Then we have the pretender. The pretender is also a dangerous place to be because she is just not honest with herself or with anybody else. She's hiding behind a mask, and masks have a whole new meaning in 2020, right? But she's literally hiding behind this mask, sharing with the world a very different reality than what's really going on inside. She might be like secretly behind the scenes learning about some things or trying some things out on her own, but she's not asking for help. She's not feeling supported in any way. She's not part of an environment that's going to support her progress because she's not, she's not being open and honest and vulnerable, even with herself. So here we have the pretender. Now we have the conscientious. I was in this stage for probably 2 years. Okay. The conscientious. Now, this person has everything seemingly together. She's got her plan. She's got her morning routine. She is meditating. She's doing her journaling. She's taking her baths, once a week. She's using Epsom salts and essential oils and all these things, but she's never breaking to the next level. She's never getting to that next, that next place that she wants to be. And she doesn't know why. And it's so frustrating and it's so hard. It's like she's looking for that thing that's going to get her to the next place. But what she doesn't realize is that thing is really herself, right? In order to get to the next level, you have to go deeper. You have to go deeper and shine the flashlight on things that you might not really want to look at or that aren't comfortable to look at, or maybe they're a little bit scary to look at. but you have to shine the flashlight in those dark places, because without that, without doing that work, that hard, uncomfortable, kind of scary work, you're not going to be able to get to that next level. That baggage is going to get heavier and heavier and heavier. Now, for me, I didn't know what I didn't know. And it wasn't until I started working with a coach who is absolutely amazing, but totally like hard on me, like very honest and pretty hard on me. And she really kind of broke everything open, showed me all these patterns in my life that I had no idea were there. And then I was able to, I was able to really see it. And I was able to really appreciate her honesty and her fire. Like, she would tell me, I'm sorry, I'm bringing the fire today. And I know it's not going to be really great for you to hear this, but I need to do this for you. And so I was able to then break free. But the conscientious, she's got everything in place. She just needs that thing, that focus, that support, that environment, that community, maybe that guidance to help her see what she doesn't see, because we're notorious for not seeing our reality, right? We are notorious for not really seeing what's going on. And it's not our fault. It's hard to really know exactly what's going on and what we need to heal and work through. And then we have the empowered. And the empowered, man, she knows life isn't perfect. She knows there's going to be ups and downs and hard times and good times, but she goes with the flow. Her motto in life is, this too shall pass. And she says that for the good things. She says that for the bad things. She knows life is a journey. It's a roller coaster. It's a ride, but she loves every bit of it. She's got the tools, which are important. She has a community, which is important. She has focus and guidance, and she's excited. She's excited about the journey, and she's excited about her ability to thrive no matter what comes her way. So I want to encourage you to think about this. Where are you? Where are you right now? Are you the learner, the student? Are you kind of at the early stages of your journey and you're just kind of getting your feet wet and seeing what's out there? Are you dabbling in different things? So you're trying some things out, kind of seeing what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and figuring this out as you go. Are you pretending like everything is okay to the outside world, but not really being truly honest with yourself or with others about the things that you need? Are you conscientious? Got it all figured out, except you just aren't sure what that missing piece is. You just aren't sure what that next thing is that's going to really help you get to that next level. Or are you empowered, right? It's going to be a bumpy road. There's going to be ups and downs, but that's cool. You're okay with that. You have the tools. When things are tough, you have the environment that's set up for your success, that's helping you break to that next level. You have that focus and that guidance and that community. So think about that. Where are you? And for some reason, I can't mute the iPhone that is on here. Let me see. I know there's a little bit of feedback. Can everybody just make sure that they're muted? That would be awesome. Okay. I think I was able to mute everybody. Okay, cool. All right. So moving right along, I also want you to remember, simple is always best. The best strategy for you is the strategy you do consistently. Okay, we're going to talk about two tools today, EFT tapping and some breathing. But if you don't use it, it's not going to help you in any way. So these tools might really resonate with you. You might say, oh my gosh, I am absolutely going to add these to my routine, add them to my schedule, and they work for you. That's awesome. You might have other wellness tools that work for you. That's awesome too. The key is they're simple enough for you to do consistently, okay? And you're committed to your own health and wellness, that you do these things on a regular basis. That is the most important thing. Now, let's talk a little bit about how stress shows up. Stress can be very sneaky. It shows up physically. Okay, you might feel tired, your body might hurt, things might just feel sore or stiff or tight. And you might attribute it to, oh, I'm just getting older. It's winter. It's colder outside. I'm supposed to be, a little sore or a little stiff or whatever it is. But the truth is, when we are in that state of chronic stress, right? When we're in that sympathetic nervous system for an extended period of time, we are not supposed to be there for long. We're supposed to go into the sympathetic, get out of danger, and go back to the parasympathetic, right? The rest, digest, and heal. But that's just not the case for so many of us. So more stress, more inflammation, more cortisol, more pain, right? Inflammation and chronic stress are really major contributors to over 90% of all illness and disease. So stress shows up in the body in physical ways. Okay, so think about yourself for a minute. Does stress show up for you physically, and how? One of the, with all the clients that I work with, one really common thing that a lot of my clients mention is skin issues. And they're like, my skin is different. It's really itchy. I'm breaking out. I've never, broken out so much. I'm not sure why. There's just different things going on with the skin. For me, that was one of my first symptoms, was really, really terrible acne. But there's, skin issues. There's the fatigue that I mentioned. There's the physical pain. There could be all different kinds of challenges in the body. For me, vertigo, dizziness was one of my really major symptoms when I was really sick. But it can show up in a variety of ways. So think about how stress shows up for you. Now, stress can also affect us mentally. Foggy brain is one of the most common symptoms. People are like, I just can't think very clearly. And unfortunately, mom brain, right? That's a term many of us are probably familiar with. Mom brain is so normalized that we think it's okay for moms to be forgetful, disorganized, disconnected, from what's going on. They're just kind of in their head, in their own, world sometimes. But that's totally not normal. We should not normalize that. That is not okay. Yes, we do experience lack of sleep with little ones, but it's not okay for us to have cognitive dysfunction because of stress. We should be managing stress on a regular basis and keeping our most important thing, right? Our brain healthy. So cognitive dysfunction is a really common way that stress shows up in the body. But when we are processing and releasing stress on a regular basis, our brain function and our cognitive function, our memory, ability to make decisions, right? Ability to make confident, empowered decisions, ability to solve complex tasks, all of these things will drastically improve. And we know the emotional challenges, the emotional side effects of too much stress. A lot of times we withdraw, right? A lot of times we become very emotional or very upset, very angry, very overwhelmed, frustrated, right? There's a lot of emotional components of stress. And for a lot of people, there's almost like this shutting down. It's too hard to deal with everything. So it's easier to just disconnect, withdraw, shut down. And then this kind of leads into a lot of sleeping. Stress is literally killing so many of us. We just don't realize the effects of it, and how living in a chronic state of stress is contributing to so many health problems. I mentioned before stress and inflammation, right? And I should say chronic stress. This is like the stress that we're just constantly in, right? Acute stress, think about, right, outrunning the tiger. This is like a short burst of stress, maybe giving a presentation at work, going for an interview, right? It's normal. And our body is so intelligent and so helpful in giving us these short spurts of stress. The cortisol, the adrenaline, things like this can help us perform at a higher level for a short period of time. But when we're stuck in a state of chronic stress, right, and now we don't have a tiger chasing us, but we have bills, we have an economy that's uncertain, we have political things going on. There's so many things that are going on that are contributing to this state of chronic stress, or we can also say the sympathetic nervous system, the fight, flight, freeze nervous system. 90% of all illness and disease comes from stress and inflammation. The more we understand the power of stress, the more we can realize that this is something serious that we need to pay attention to and take care of. And guys, it is not that hard, okay? And I can't wait to get to our next step. So, all right, give me a thumbs up or a yes or something in the chat if you are ready to get to our first strategy. Okay, I have a comment from somebody, no audio. Okay, hopefully that is fixed for now. Okay, Sarah, yes. Okay, let's jump into our first strategy. So our first strategy is my favorite, guys. I mentioned earlier, I'm an EFT master practitioner. When I got really sick a couple years ago, EFT was a fabulous tool for me that really helped me get on track. It really helped me press that reset button on my body and heal my body in a way that nobody else could help me figure out, right? The doctors, they just didn't know. They weren't able to give me that guidance and that support. So EFT is one of my favorite techniques. And let's go ahead. I'm going to jump in to share with you the points in the process. And then I'm going to unshare the PowerPoint so we can do a little demonstration together. So the EFT tapping points are shown on this picture here. Typically, we start with the karate chop, which is the side of the hand. You can see over here, step 1, the karate chop, side of the hand. And then we go through the points. I usually do the top of the head first, just because I feel like I like to go down the body. But it's, it's a flexible tool, and the points in the process are definitely flexible as well. So here we have the points. You don't have to memorize them. After we do our quick demo, you guys will probably know all of them and be almost an expert at the process as well. So in the process, we start by identifying the issue that we're going to be working on. So for today, we're going to talk about stress. Then we go through a process of accepting that we have stress in our body. Acceptance is really the foundation for all healing. So we have to accept this. What we resist persists. So we don't want to fight the stress anymore. We want to accept it. We want to acknowledge it. And then we go through the tapping points to actually process and release it from the body. Okay, so the process is fairly simple. And these points that you see in the picture are what we call the basic recipe. There's a lot more. There's so many more tapping points that we can use in the process. But this is what we're going to focus on today. We're going to keep it simple. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into the process. Okay. So as I said before, in the first step, we want to identify the issue, right? So today we're going to talk about stress. So we're going to tap for the issue stress. So first, what I like to do is I like to kind of rub my hands together, put them over my chest, take a deep breath, and kind of check in with my body. Notice how stressed do you feel right now? Okay, so and we're going to quantify this. We're going to actually put a number on this. So on a scale of 0 to 10, how stressed are you feeling right now? A 0 would be no stress, 10, your stress would be very, very high. Okay, so just think about that number. Okay. Okay, yeah, so somebody raised their hand. Okay, so I'm gonna ask to unmute. You could ask your question. Okay, I think you're unmuted. Do you have a question?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Oh, wow. I've been having a difficult time with the Zoom, so I'm at a 5 right now.
Okay. Okay, well,
I haven't learned how to Zoom yet.
Oh, and that raised your stress level?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, well, you're doing great. You're here. Your audio's good. You even know how to raise your hand. So you're kind of at like the next level of a Zoomer. So awesome.
I wouldn't know.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right, cool. Cool. Okay. So we have we call this a SUD score. Okay, so we have our number. And now we're going to go through the tapping process. So we're going to tap on the side of the hand. Okay, so right here, karate chop point. We're going to tap here. And guys, please don't think you have to do this exactly like me. Don't overthink the process. Okay, I'm going to try to demonstrate it as clearly as possible, but this is such a flexible tool. Such a flexible tool. Okay, so I'm just tapping right on the side of the hand, kind of right under my pinky knuckle. Okay. Even though, and then you're just going to repeat after me. Even though I have all this stress in my body, I'm doing the best I can. Even though there's so much stress in my body, I'm doing a great job. Even though there's so much stress in my body and there's so many things going on in my life, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Okay, top of the head. All this stress. And take a deep breath here. All this stress in my body. And we're just right kind of on the inside of your eyebrow. Inside of the eye. There's so much stress in my body. Right on the side of the eye. And then under the eye. All this stress. And take another deep breath. There's so much stress in my body. All this stress. And then on the externum, kind of in the middle of your chest, or if you want to use two hands, and you can tap on your like collarbone points right up here. All this stress in my body. We're going to just stay here for a moment because this point here is like the furnace to your entire body. So tapping on this point here activates your body's self-healing process. This is one of the most powerful points that we could possibly use in the EFT process. Okay. So this is a really powerful point. If the only point you remember from this class is this point here, Awesome. You're learning something amazing for your body, and you're doing something really awesome for your health. Okay, so let's take another deep breath here. Okay, and under the arm. Almost where, like about 2 or 3 inches underneath your armpit. So right about where your bra is. All this stress in my body. And then we're going to go back to the top of the head. And now we're going to tap a little bit faster. Okay. This stress in my body. This stress in my body. All this stress. This stress. It's okay to let this go. It's okay to let go of all the stress in my body. It's okay to let this go. It's okay for my body to be calm and relaxed. It's okay for my body to feel calm. It's okay for my body to feel relaxed. It's safe for me to let go of all the stress in my body. It's okay to let this go. Right now, I am safe. Right now, I'm okay. I can let go of this stress. And take a deep breath here. And another deep breath. Good. All the stress. Okay. Let's rub your hands together. Place your hands over your chest. Take a nice deep breath. And check in with your body. Notice how your body feels. On a scale of 0 to 10, notice how stressed you feel right now. And give that a number. And then compare that with how you felt at the beginning. Okay, did your stress go down? Hopefully. Did it stay the same? That's possible. And I'll give you a couple of reasons why that could be possible. Did your stress jump? Did it actually intensify or magnify, or does it feel worse? Because that happens sometimes too. So let me know in the chat, how did everybody's SED score change or not change if it stayed the same? Okay, still a 4. Lacey, I know it would be less if I didn't have a little power struggle with my 6-year-old. Yeah. Okay, down to a 3. Awesome. Awesome. A little better. Okay, cool. So yeah, that was, I don't know, what, 3 or 4 minutes? I wasn't keeping track of time, but that was a very, very quick tapping session. And the amount of support that you just gave to your body, right? Even if your stress didn't shift immediately, maybe it got a little bit better. What you just did for your body is you helped your body release some of the stress. Okay, even a reduction in a little bit of stress is going to have a long-term benefit for you, right? But it also helped your body shift from that sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic nervous system, right? You helped your body make a little bit of a shift. You helped your body settle. Your heart rate probably slowed down, your blood pressure decreased, a little bit less inflammation, right? And this is just in a couple minutes. So it's really, really, really important that we're processing our stress on a regular basis and we're supporting our body like this on a regular basis. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing my screen and we're going to do some breathing together. All right. So, okay, can tapping really change my life? So I want to share with you guys real quick a couple stories from past clients. So one of my clients was having, she had chronic issues with her throat for a really, really long time. She also had, she was a bit of a hoarder. She had a really hard time letting go of like physical things. There was always a struggle with her and her husband. And when we were tapping and we were releasing some of these things that were these patterns that she had carried with her since childhood, her cough suddenly started to clear up. She noticed that she had a fear of speaking up for herself, standing up for herself, and she became more assertive, more courageous. She was able to find her voice. So that was really awesome. And this was in 4 sessions, actually, just 4 sessions with her. One of my students in one of my programs, she was doing a tap and rant technique. I think she was doing this in the shower. So it was literally a couple of minutes. She tapped, she rant, she let go of a lot of anger, a lot of negative self-talk. She didn't judge or censor anything that she was thinking or saying. She let it come out, she let it go, and she realized that she had a pattern of self-sabotage. And as a result of bringing this to the surface and letting this go, she was able to bend down and put her socks on. So a lot of times we carry our emotional weight in our physical body. So she was carrying this emotional weight in her lower back. So that's a pretty cool thing. Again, doesn't have to take a lot of time, right? This work doesn't have to take a lot of time. This is one of my favorite stories. A little guy named Ed had 2 open heart surgeries before 6 months old. And he developed, as a result of all this trauma, he developed a fear of anybody touching his nose. And in just a few sessions, his mom was able to wipe his nose, touch his nose. The trauma was cleared. The trauma was released from his body. And his mom was very, very happy about that. So again, this is not like a lifetime of work sometimes, right? Sometimes it can be, but a lot of times when we're able to allow our body, support our body in processing and releasing the emotions, right? The repressed emotions and the stress, then we're really able to see life from a whole different angle. We're able to feel a body, live in a body that just feels so different than a body that's held down and holding on to so much weight from the past, so much baggage. Okay. Now, again, just to recap my story, right? I was a teacher, lots of stress, very little time to, I thought I had very little time to really take care of myself. And I got really, really sick. But I am no special unicorn. There's nothing that I did that anybody else can't do. I just realized, I made that commitment to myself. My daughter was very young at the time I got really sick. And I decided I didn't want her to grow up with a mom that was unhealthy, that was sick, that was unhappy, that was miserable, that had no energy, right? So I made that choice at the time that I was going to figure it out. And thankfully, I found a tool that really helped me, and I found the support that I really needed. All right, so let's talk about our second tip for today, which is breathing. And we're going to focus on breathing in a way that one of my mentors that I learned this from calls the rock and roll technique. And in the rock and roll technique, we are breathing in a way that's anatomically correct. Now, without thinking too much about it, I want you guys to all take a deep breath. So take a deep breath and notice if you get taller or if you get wider. Just notice. Don't judge. There's no judgment. Just notice. Okay. So just notice. And then you could type in the chat if you want. Let me know, taller, wider. And a little bit of both. Okay. A little bit of both. So many of you, I think it's over, I think the stat is like over 90% of people over 6 years old breathe by getting taller, right? They're vertical breathers. And that is not the correct way for our body to breathe. Our body is meant, yeah, it's a crazy stat. And actually, just a little bit about that stat, we are born breathing perfectly. We're born breathing with our belly, using our lungs in the optimal way. Our the muscles in between our ribs are nice and loose, so our ribs are able to expand as our lungs expand, and we use our diaphragm, and we're not using our secondary muscles, our neck, our upper back, our shoulders, and everything is working perfectly, right? Our body's full of oxygen, everything's wonderful. But then we hit around 6 years old, and society starts teaching us, no, you don't breathe with your belly. You don't want your belly getting bigger and bigger as you breathe. You're going to breathe taller. You're going to keep this tight. You're going to, suck this in, keep this tight. You want to have a strong core. You want to have strong abs, right? And so what happens is our body literally starts adapting to the wrong way of breathing. The other thing that's really fascinating, if you're ever around young kids, like less than 6, if you ask them to take a deep breath, okay, if you say, like, when I do this with my son just turned 5, but if I say, Travis, take a deep breath, he'll go, like, he will literally get taller. But if I watch him, his belly, bigger, smaller, big, it gets perfect. It's perfect. And so it's just so fascinating to me because he has learned, right? He has learned that taking a deep breath, that breathing is getting taller, is becoming, more vertically, is like you grow when you take a deep breath. And eventually his body is going to start naturally doing that. Naturally, he's going to start to naturally breathe vertically if we're not really aware of that, right? And if we're not really supporting him and breathing with the belly. I noticed with my daughter, before her cross country races in the fall, we would breathe, like I would breathe with her in the car, and we do the belly breathing the whole way to the car, and her racing got so much better. She wasn't cramping. She was, her stamina was better. She was faster. Like everything got so much better. And it was pretty amazing. Now she won't say that it was because of the breathing, but I know, right? And so what happens is when we get into this habit of breathing vertically, and it's not like we did anything wrong. We can't blame ourselves. You can't blame anybody else. It's just what happens. When we are breathing vertically, our body is getting so much less oxygen than it really needs in order to perform at an optimal level. The only good thing is when you are laying down, when you're sleeping, it's impossible for your body to not breathe perfectly. But the only problem is the amount of time we're sleeping versus awake. It's not really like our body can't really make up for all the hours that we're not breathing properly to really kind of offset the damage that we're doing during the day. But the one thing is, and I'll share a little bit more about this in a minute. The one thing too is that if we're very stressed or anxious, or we're living in a very like a tight, like our body is just tight from stress and anxiety and tension. When we start to breathe properly and we start to retrain our body to breathe with our belly, which by the way, it's totally possible to retrain your body, 100% possible, and it doesn't take that long. Because remember, we were born like this. So our body wants to go back to the default. But sometimes it is physically hard to take a deep breath because the muscles in between our ribs are so tight that when we start to use our belly and we start to like try to expand our belly on the inhale, it's almost like we're just hitting so much resistance that it physically feels like we can't do it. So if that's the case, gentle stretches to the side like this can be really helpful for stretching those muscles out, but you don't want to overstretch, right? Or really or hurt those muscles in the process, but that can kind of support your body in being able to really take this amazing full breath. The other thing too is as you start to breathe properly, your body's getting more and more oxygen. Things are working better, right? You're really supporting your body and releasing stress, releasing anxiety or tension. So it's just a perfect, and it's a perfect combination with tapping, right? But more oxygen, right? Oxygen is life. The better you breathe, the more oxygen you bring into your body, the better everything's going to be working. Okay. And you're going to see in just a second that it's really not hard. It's not hard. One word of caution. If you're not familiar or if you're not used, like if you don't have a breathwork practice or you're not really used to taking a lot of deep breaths, you might start to feel a little bit lightheaded after you start to take a few deep breaths. If that happens, then stop the breathing with us. Take a couple normal breaths until your body, kind of stabilizes. And then you can pick up with us if you want or not. But again, be gentle anytime you're starting something new, be gentle with yourself because it takes time, right? Everything takes time. The good thing though, is that this doesn't have to be complicated. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to teach you how to breathe using the rock and roll breath. And then I'll give you guys a couple ways to add this breathing technique into your everyday life until it starts to become just what you do. And it's not going to take too long to become your normal way of breathing. It's just a matter of raising your awareness and retraining your body. All right. So if you're sitting down, have both of your feet flat on the floor and just kind of gently rest your hands on your lap. Okay. And if you're familiar with yoga, this is the exact same thing as the cat cow. Okay. So you can do this, from tabletop position on the floor, on your hands and knees. And it's the same exact movement of your body. So you're going to kind of think about almost like sticking your butt out, maybe rolling your pelvis underneath you and lifting your chest, shoulders back. You can put your chin up just slightly and you're going to inhale and imagine filling your belly with air. So you can actually put your hands on your belly and feel your belly filling up with air. Okay. So go ahead and inhale. And then on the exhale, imagine pulling your belly button to your spine. So you're rolling your spine. You can think about kind of curving, your shoulders are coming forward. You're curving. And exhale with intention. So really focus on that exhale. Get all that air out. You might almost feel like you have to cough. All right. And the other thing that Dr. Belisa Branich, the person I learned this from, she was explaining to us in this workshop that so many of us are lazy exhalers. Like we put no emphasis on the exhale, like none whatsoever. So what happens is we have all this stale air that's just hanging around in our lungs, doing nothing for us. So being intentional about that exhale can help clear out our lungs of any stale air that is not helping us in any way. But it also has another benefit of activating the body's natural relaxation response, which again is going to help activate the body's self-healing, capacity. So let's do another inhale. So inhale, So you're thinking about that rocking forward, shoulders back, chin up, fill your belly with air. Exhale. And let's do another one. Inhale. And then belly button to spine. Exhale. And one more. Inhale. Fill your belly with air. Exhale. Okay. And go ahead and do a few more on your own. And let me know if you have any questions at all. Okay. So again, just experiment with this. Notice how your body's feeling. The more you practice this movement, and of course, this is very exaggerated. Like we are, really exaggerating this movement as we're learning. This gets more and more subtle the more you do it. And then, like I said before, eventually this is just the way your body breathes. And you'll start noticing, that your breath is now, more in your belly and less in your neck and shoulders. You are also going to notice you're probably going to have a lot less tension in your upper back, your neck, and your shoulders, because you're not supposed to breathe with that part of your body. So that part of your body is getting this extra workout constantly, which it doesn't really need. And so you'll probably notice a lot less tension there. So take a couple nice deep breaths. Okay. And let me know in the comments, how are you guys feeling so far? And do you have any questions? Do you have any questions about the technique, about anything in general? And let me know, how are you feeling? Like, what was your experience with that? Was it weird? Did it feel really awkward and uncomfortable? Because a lot of times it does at first. And that's normal, right? Our body is doing something very different. Okay, good. Easier than I thought. I felt a release. Cool. Very cool. All right. So a couple really easy ways. Yes, just need to practice. Awesome. Yep. Practice. Practice makes permanent, right? With something like this. The more we practice, the more our body is just going to know and understand how to do this on its own. A couple ways that you can bring this into your everyday routine. So I used to do this. I mean, we're not really probably driving as much as we were at some point. We probably don't really have a commute these days for the most part. But anytime you're driving and you get to a stop sign, do a rock and roll breath. Maybe do 2 or 3, right? When you're at a red light, do these rock and roll breaths until the light turns green. In the beginning of the day, before you log into Facebook or check your email or, kind of get your day started, if you do any journaling or anything like that, do a few rock and roll breaths. Maybe you do 3 every single time your text message boings on your phone. Every single time you reach for your phone to check your messages, you do a rock and roll breath. Okay, figure out, find some pockets of time during your day, attach this to things that you're already doing. It does not have to be an extra thing on your to-do list. You're making your coffee in the morning. Hey, why not? Why not do a couple rock and roll breaths, right? As you're, brushing your teeth, or before or after you brush your teeth, why not just do 1, right? The other thing too, that's really helpful, if any of you guys have sleep challenges, it's hard for you to fall asleep or relax at night, one of the things that can really help is just laying on your back in your bed, putting your hands on your belly, and just being very aware of how your belly is rising and falling and rising and falling, right? When you're laying on your back about to go to sleep, your body is breathing in the perfect way, right? This way, it's breathing in the way that's anatomically correct. So, just counting your breaths and being really aware, really in the present moment can also help activate your body's, natural relaxation response, activates your body's uh, self-healing process, help you shift from the sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic nervous system, where all the healing happens, right? In that rest, digest, and healing place. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways you guys can attach this to something that you're already doing. And Lacey, okay, this works well on the toilet. Funny but true. You are absolutely correct. Like 100% correct on that. It was really interesting in the workshop with Dr. Belisa Vranich. She said all acid reflux issues would be gone. All constipation would be completely gone if people breathe in this way. Because as you're breathing with your like actual breathing muscles, you are massaging your stomach, your digestive organs, your intestines, everything is being massaged in the way that it's supposed to be massaged in order for digestion to be working perfectly and elimination and all of that stuff to be working perfectly. So that I'm glad that you brought that up, because I know there's a lot of people that struggle with digestion challenges or, constipation or whatever. By breathing this way, you guys might notice there are some really awesome benefits in the bathroom. So yeah. So it really does. It really, really does work. And I've heard that from lots and lots and lots of people. So thanks for bringing that up. Awesome, Lacey. All right. So 3 secrets to self-care and stress management. I'm going to go through these really quickly. First one, it does not have to be hard. You guys saw today how simple tapping is. It is simple, guys. And even if you have no experience with tapping before, you probably know or have a good understanding after just a couple minutes of what the points are and what the process is. And if you don't, then no worries at all. As long as you remember even one point, you can really help support your body in a really massive way. But it does not have to be hard. The rock and roll breath can work miracles for so many of our health challenges and really support our body in releasing stress. And make this simple. Make it work for you. Doesn't have to take so much time. Does not have to take a lot of time. But I hope that everybody realizes how important it is to make this a priority. Okay, nothing is more important than your health. If you didn't have your health, if you didn't have a body that feels good, that's working well, what else do you have, right? You really want to make this a priority. It can only be a couple minutes a day. After a while, it's just going to become what you do. You're not even going to put much thought into it. It's just going to become what you do. You're going to become that person who prioritizes themselves, who prioritizes their stress, who just takes care of themselves without feeling guilty, without adding something to the to-do list. You are going to become that person. Okay. But you got to prioritize. You have to commit to that. Okay. That commitment is important. Yes. Prioritize you. It makes life so much better. It really does. And there's no way to get this right. So just do it. Just get started. Just get rolling. If you have, questions and things like that, yes, those might come up. You could certainly always reach out to me if you have any questions, but just get started. Just get started. And along the way, you can make it better and better and better, but you got to get started. Okay. You just got to get started. All right. The number one reason why people don't continue this work is that they don't have a supportive environment. So they don't have that support they need to really make this part of their everyday routine. So if you're in the Facebook group, the Stress Management and EFT Tapping Facebook group, that's a great place to get the support that you need to stay, but you got to stay plugged in, right? Stay plugged in with the tapping sessions, stay plugged in with any of the resources and stuff that I put in there. But make sure you have an environment that supports you and that helps you on this journey of making your stress management, your self-care a priority. That supportive environment is huge. A lot of us, right, we know that stress management, that the healing journey, that this is a process. There's not something that you do first, second, third, fourth. It's a journey. There's going to be the ups and downs. If you think back to the chart of those 5 types of women, right? The empowered, she knows it's a journey. She knows that there's not an exact, I do this, then I do this, then I do this, then I do this, right? It's a process. It is a process, but stay plugged in, because staying plugged in, staying committed, being in the community where we have the focus and we have the environment and the support, that's really going to help you break through those obstacles and get to that next level. And if you're in our Facebook group, which I think everybody is, but if you're in the Facebook group, over the next 10 days, I believe, we're going to be doing a live video series in there that's going to share another opportunity for you guys to join a really, really supportive, awesome environment, which is called the Holistic Sisterhood. So I'm going to be sharing a lot more details over the next week. So I'm not going to share too many details right now. But that's a really great environment for you, other like-minded ladies who are really focused on making themselves a priority, staying plugged into the work, but also they see the value of the environment and having the focus and the leadership and the guidance in that community. So we'll share more details later. And your next step. So your next step, what I want you to think about right now is, how am I going to make myself a priority? So how am I going to make myself a priority? What can I do? What can I do differently today? Okay, to really support my health. Okay, think about that. Be really honest with yourself. How committed are you to doing this every single day? Right? Unfortunately, like a lot of the clients that I work with, they come to me in a crisis. So they come to me when their body has just it's starting to shut down. Right? But I don't want you to ever get to that point where your body the chronic stress has accumulated so much, and it's building and building and building and building, that suddenly it's just like a volcano. Everything's starting to explode. And that's a really, really dangerous place to be. Don't want to get to that point. So what are you going to do today so you don't get to that point and you start to make yourself a priority? Because we know it's not that hard to manage your stress. There's a couple really simple tools that you can start using right now. We know it doesn't have to be perfect. Just have to get it going. And we also know it doesn't have to take a ton of time. Okay, so think about, be real honest with yourself. How committed am I to my self-care and stress management? And what am I going to do? What am I going to do right now? And will you commit? Super important. Will you commit to you, your wellness, your health? Okay, really important. I always ask my private clients this question. And sometimes they'll say, like, ugh, I don't know. I'm not really that committed. Like, the pain of change, the pain, like going through the pain that I'm going to go through to get to the other side, is almost scarier than just staying where I am. And if you feel like that, that's fine, but just be honest with yourself. Okay. How committed are you? How committed are you? All right, guys, I know you came to this session because you are one of those awesome ladies out there who are really, really interested in improving their life, in drastically changing their life. So I am super, super grateful for everybody who showed up here today. If you have any interest in reaching out, if you're interested in maybe talking about private sessions, you can let me know. I do have opening on my schedule for only 2 more clients right now, 2 more private clients right now. But I did mention next over the next 10 days, starting on Wednesday, I'm going to be sharing a lot more information about the Holistic Sisterhood, which is available to anybody. Very, very affordable. It's only $32 a month. And we have been working so hard on really improving the program. And we're very excited to be opening the doors and welcoming in so many new members. So thank you guys so much for coming. Rhonda, awesome. Yes, happy solstice to you guys. It's going to start getting lighter now. Yay. I am a winter girl. There's nothing more than snow. I love the snow, and I'm so glad we have so much snow right now. But I always do love when the days get longer and we have some more sunshine and, swimming and everything starts to happen again. So thank you guys so much for everybody who came live. Also, you will get an email with the recording. So you can definitely, be able to, have access to the tools and the things that we talked about today. So thank you guys so much. I hope everybody has an awesome day, and I'll talk to you guys soon, and be on the lookout for an email that's going to come later today. All right, everybody. Take care. Thanks for joining me today.